Rebuilding yourself is a process of immense personal growth, an opportunity to transform your mind, body, and spirit in a way that aligns with your deepest values and aspirations. It is the act of returning to your truest self, often after a period of struggle, doubt, or stagnation. The journey of self-reconstruction is about redirecting your focus inward, nurturing your sense of self-worth, and embracing both the beautiful and challenging aspects of being human. In a world that constantly demands more of us, more attention, more productivity, more of our time and energy, it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain a focus on the one person who matters the most. In the chaos of daily life, it's easy to forget the importance of tending to our own well-being. We pour ourselves into our careers, relationships, and obligations, often neglecting to replenish the well from which all of these things flow. Our inner self, but rebuilding yourself begins with one simple yet powerful decision: to make yourself a priority, to recognize that your mental, emotional, and physical health are the foundation upon which everything else stands. This is not an act of selfishness, but rather an act of self-respect. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot give your best to the world if you are not at your best yourself. So what does it mean to rebuild yourself? It means turning your attention inward and taking responsibility for your own growth and healing. It requires you to acknowledge where you are right now, both in terms of your accomplishments and your challenges, and then decide where you want to go. It's about looking at the patterns in your life, identifying those that no longer serve you, and consciously choosing new behaviors that align with the person you wish to become. The first step in rebuilding yourself is self-awareness. You must be honest with yourself about where you are in life and why you are there. Self-awareness is the key to unlocking personal transformation because it helps you understand your thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. Without this understanding, it's difficult to make lasting changes because you are not fully aware of what needs to be transformed. Ask yourself deep, probing questions. How do I feel about my life right now? What are the patterns in my behavior that I know are holding me back? Where do I feel disconnected or stuck? These questions require you to pause and reflect, to slow down long enough to notice the nuances of your inner world. Often the answers will not come immediately, but over time, as you give yourself permission to listen to the whispers of your heart. Once you have this awareness, the next step is to take ownership of your life. Rebuilding yourself means accepting full responsibility for your choices, actions, and even the circumstances that led you to where you are today. It's about realizing that while you may not have control over everything that happens to you, you always have control over how you respond. Rebuilding begins the moment you stop blaming others or external situations for your unhappiness or struggle. Instead, you become the creator of your own experience. This ownership extends to your emotions, your habits, and the stories you tell yourself. Too often we allow negative self-talk to define who we are. We may tell ourselves that we are not good enough, that we are unworthy, or that we are incapable of change. But rebuilding yourself means challenging these limiting beliefs and replacing them with empowering truth. It means learning to speak to yourself with kindness and compassion, to treat yourself with the same love and respect that you would offer a friend. One of the most powerful ways to rebuild yourself is through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being present, of bringing your full attention to the moment without judgment. It allows you to break free from the constant cycle of worry, stress, and regret that can often dominate your thoughts. When you are mindful, you create space between your thoughts and reactions, giving yourself the freedom to choose how you respond rather than simply reacting out of habit. By cultivating mindfulness, you also deepen your connection with yourself. You begin to notice the subtle ways in which your body, mind, and emotions communicate with you. You may become more attuned to your body's signals of stress or fatigue, or you might notice patterns in your thinking that need to be addressed. With this heightened awareness, you can make more intentional choices that align with your values and goals. As you rebuild yourself, you must also commit to self-care. Rebuilding is not only about internal transformation, but also about external nurturing. It is about taking care of your physical body, feeding it with nourishing food, getting enough rest, and engaging in regular exercise. But self-care goes beyond the physical. It also involves taking time for mental and emotional well-being. You must set boundaries, say no when necessary, and make space for activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Part of rebuilding yourself is learning how to prioritize your own needs. This can be challenging, especially if you are used to putting others first or seeking validation from external sources. But you must recognize that in order to show up fully for others, you must first show up for yourself. It's not about being perfect or always having everything together. It's about committing to your own growth and well-being in a consistent and meaningful way. In the process of rebuilding, you will undoubtedly encounter setbacks and obstacles. Change is not linear, and there will be times when you feel discouraged or frustrated. You may experience periods of doubt when it feels easier to revert back to old habits and patterns. But it is in these moments that resilience becomes key. Rebuilding yourself requires perseverance and patience. It requires you to keep moving forward, even when the path seems unclear or difficult. One of the most empowering things you can do during this time is to surround yourself with a supportive community. Rebuilding yourself doesn't mean going at it alone. Seek out people who uplift and inspire you, who encourage your growth and hold space for your struggles. A strong support system can help you stay focused and motivated, especially when the journey feels long or isolating. Another important aspect of rebuilding yourself is embracing failure. Too often we view failure as something to be avoided or ashamed of. But failure is an essential part of the growth process. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, to refine your approach, and to grow stronger. Rebuilding yourself means letting go of the fear of failure and reframing it as a natural part of your evolution. The key to overcoming fear and embracing failure is shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing failure as a sign of inadequacy, view it as a stepping stone toward success. Understand that failure does not define you. It simply reveals areas of growth and opportunity. When you shift your perspective, you can approach challenges with curiosity and resilience rather than with fear or defeat. As you continue to rebuild yourself, remember that this is a lifelong journey. Transformation does not happen overnight, and there is no destination where you suddenly arrive as your best self. Rather, rebuilding yourself is an ongoing process of growth, refinement, and reinvention. There will always be new layers to uncover, new lessons to learn, and new ways to evolve. So make the commitment to focus on yourself every day. Let this commitment become a daily practice, whether through moments of reflection, self-care, or mindfulness. Allow yourself to be present with your emotions, to acknowledge your progress, and to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. The more you focus on yourself, the more you will uncover the depth of your potential and the power that lies within you. In the end, rebuilding yourself is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully who you already are. It's about peeling back the layers of doubt, fear, and limitation, and revealing the truth of your inner strength, wisdom, and creativity. When you focus on yourself with intention and love, you become the best version of yourself, and from that place you can create a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and aligned with your highest purpose. So embrace the journey of rebuilding yourself, knowing that each step you take is an investment in your future. Be patient, be kind to yourself, and never forget that you are worth the effort. Let your focus be on you every day, and watch as you transform into the person you were always meant to be. Self-awareness and reflection are foundational to the process of rebuilding oneself. It is often said that the first step in any transformation is knowing where you stand. Before you can change, grow, or evolve, you must first understand who you are and where you are in life. Without this understanding, the journey toward personal growth is akin to wandering without a map. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks your potential for change, allowing you to gain clarity on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and ultimately guiding you toward your authentic self. At its core, self-awareness involves the ability to observe and understand your inner world. It's the ability to notice your thoughts without being consumed by them, to recognize your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. Most people go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations based on past experiences, habitual responses, or societal conditioning. True self-awareness requires stepping outside of those automatic patterns and taking a mindful, objective look at who you are at this moment. This means reflecting on your life, the choices you've made, the relationships you've built, the habits you've formed, and the beliefs you hold. It's about understanding what drives you, what motivates your decisions, what fears shape your actions, what core values guide your behavior. Self-awareness is not about judgment, but about observation. It's about being curious about your inner workings, with compassion and without self-criticism. The act of reflection allows you to pause and gain perspective. Life often moves so quickly that we forget to check in with ourselves. We get swept up in external expectations, constantly reacting to situations or fulfilling the needs of others without taking the time to evaluate whether these actions align with who we truly are. Reflection, then, serves as a moment of recalibration. It allows you to step back from the noise and take an honest look at your life. In moments of reflection, you may come face to face with uncomfortable truths. You might realize that some of your habits are holding you back, or that certain relationships no longer serve you. Maybe you'll uncover fears or insecurities that have influenced your decisions without your full awareness. These realizations can be disheartening, but they are not failures. Rather, they are opportunities for growth. Without understanding where you currently are, what is working and what isn't, you cannot make meaningful changes. The power of self-awareness lies in the fact that it gives you the ability to change. Once you understand your behaviors, your emotional triggers, and your underlying beliefs, you can begin to question them. Do they align with the person you want to become? Are they serving your long-term happiness and well-being, or are they limiting you? When you can see your patterns clearly, you gain the power to break free from them, replacing old habits with new, healthier ones that bring you closer to your true self. Reflection also fosters emotional intelligence, as it encourages you to understand and process your emotions. When you're self-aware, you can recognize when you're feeling frustrated, anxious, or overwhelmed, and explore the underlying causes of these emotions. You can then respond in a way that serves your best interests, rather than reacting impulsively or letting emotions dictate your behavior. Ultimately, the more you engage in self-awareness and reflection, the more aligned you become with your true essence. This alignment is essential for rebuilding yourself. It allows you to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than confusion, to act with intention rather than habit. It helps you build a life that is not a reaction to external pressures, but a reflection of your authentic self, a life that feels true to who you are at your core. It means stepping into the driver's seat of your own existence and accepting full responsibility for everything in your life, both the positive and the negative. Ownership is not about blaming yourself for everything that happens to you, but about recognizing that no matter the circumstances, you have the power to choose how you respond, how you grow, and how you move forward. At its essence, taking ownership means acknowledging that you are the creator of your own experience. So often we get caught in the trap of blaming external circumstances or people for our unhappiness. We might blame our past, our upbringing, our job, or our relationships for how we feel. But taking ownership challenges this mindset. It invites us to look inward and ask, how have I contributed to this situation? What choices have I made, either consciously or unconsciously, that have led me to where I am today? It's about understanding that while you may not have control over everything that happens to you, you always have control over how you respond to those events. When you begin to take ownership of your life, you release the victim mentality. You stop seeing yourself as a passive participant in your own story, waiting for external forces to change or for others to fix things for you. Instead, you become the active agent in your life's narrative. You take the reins, decide what you want to change, and put in the effort required to transform. This mindset shift is crucial because it moves you from a place of powerlessness to a place of empowerment. One of the most difficult aspects of taking ownership is recognizing the role of your own choices. It's easy to point fingers at the people or situations that have caused you pain, but often we forget to examine our own decisions. Did we stay in toxic relationships too long? Did we let fear hold us back from pursuing our dreams? Did we neglect our mental or physical health? Ownership requires you to face these uncomfortable truths without self-judgment, understanding that your choices, while sometimes flawed, are a part of the process of learning and growing. This doesn't mean you blame yourself for everything that goes wrong, nor does it mean you take on guilt or shame. Rather, it's about understanding the power of choice and recognizing that you are not helpless. Even in situations that feel beyond your control, you can choose how to respond. You may not be able to control the actions of others, but you can control your reactions, your attitude, and your behavior. Taking ownership is about reclaiming that power. When you take ownership of your life, you also take responsibility for your personal growth. It means committing to your own development and refusing to settle for mediocrity or complacency. This can be a deeply uncomfortable process because it often requires you to challenge your old beliefs, habits, and patterns of behavior. It asks you to step outside of your comfort zone and embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. For example, if you're unhappy with your job or your financial situation, taking ownership means acknowledging that you have the ability to change it. You may need to learn new skills, take risks, or change your mindset, but the power to transform your career is in your hands. Similarly, if you're struggling with relationships, taking ownership involves looking at your role in those dynamics and being willing to make changes in how you communicate, set boundaries, or show up in the relationship. Taking ownership also involves embracing your flaws and mistakes. We all have areas in our lives where we fall short or make errors. But when you take ownership of your life, you stop seeing mistakes as failures. Instead, you view them as valuable lessons that teach you how to do better next time. The difference between someone who takes ownership and someone who doesn't is that the person who owns their life learns from their mistakes, grows from them, and doesn't allow past failures to define their future. Another vital aspect of ownership is setting clear goals and creating an actionable plan to achieve them. When you take ownership of your life, you stop waiting for things to happen to you. Instead, you actively pursue your goals, break them down into manageable steps, and stay committed to the process. This requires discipline, consistency, and a clear sense of purpose. Taking ownership means making choices every day that align with your long-term vision for yourself. Taking ownership also involves setting boundaries. It's about recognizing your needs and values and making sure that you honor them. It's not about controlling others, but about ensuring that your environment supports your well-being and growth. By setting boundaries, you protect your energy, mental health, and personal space. You are no longer at the mercy of others' demands or the pressure to please people. You stand firm in your decisions and prioritize yourself without guilt. As you take ownership of your life, you begin to recognize your own strengths and capabilities. You start to trust yourself more and become more confident in your ability to handle whatever challenges come your way. Instead of waiting for permission from others or seeking external validation, you learn to validate yourself. You know that you are the one responsible for your happiness, your success, and your future. This self-reliance is incredibly empowering because it reminds you that you have everything you need within yourself to thrive. In taking ownership, you also become more intentional in how you approach your daily life. You recognize that every choice you make, no matter how small, contributes to the life you're building, whether it's the way you spend your time, the people you surround yourself with, or the mindset you cultivate. Each of these decisions shapes your reality. When you take ownership, You are making deliberate choices that support your growth, happiness, and well-being. Ultimately, taking ownership of your life is an act of self-respect. It is about honoring your own power and acknowledging that you are responsible for creating the life you desire. It's about accepting that, while you may not have control over everything that happens to you, you have the ability to choose how you respond, how you grow, and how you move forward. By taking ownership, you reclaim your agency, your confidence, and your sense of purpose. This is the foundation upon which you can rebuild yourself and create a life that is truly aligned with your values and aspirations. Mindfulness and presence are more than just buzzwords in the realm of personal growth. They are transformative practices that can radically change how you experience life. In a world that is perpetually busy, filled with distractions, and driven by constant demands, learning to be mindful and present is perhaps one of the most powerful ways to reconnect with yourself and regain control over your life. It's easy to get lost in the noise, to constantly think about the past or worry about the future. But true healing and self-reconstruction begin when you learn to fully embrace the present moment. Mindfulness is the art of paying attention, deliberately, without judgment, and with full awareness. It's about being conscious of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they occur in real time rather than getting swept up by them. It's about noticing the small everyday moments, the feel of the breeze against your skin, the taste of your food, the sound of your breath, as these moments are happening, rather than allowing your mind to race off in 1,000 different directions. The beauty of mindfulness lies in its simplicity. It's not about trying to force yourself into a particular state of being or achieving a specific outcome. It's about observing what is already happening without judgment or expectation. When you bring mindfulness into your life, you start to cultivate a sense of peace because you stop trying to control everything. You stop chasing after a future that doesn't yet exist or holding on to a past that has already gone. You realize that the only moment that truly matters is the one you are experiencing right now. Presence, which is closely tied to mindfulness, refers to the practice of being fully engaged in whatever you are doing without distractions or mental wandering. Whether you are having a conversation, working on a project, or simply drinking a cup of coffee, presence is about giving your undivided attention to the task at hand. It's easy to get distracted, especially in today's world of constant connectivity. We might find ourselves thinking about what's next on our to-do list, or checking our phones while we're in the middle of a conversation. But being present means quieting those distractions and bringing your full focus to the moment, appreciating the richness of the experience as it unfolds. One of the key benefits of mindfulness and presence is that they allow you to tap into a deeper sense of calm. When you are fully present, you're not lost in the chaos of your thoughts or the stress of an uncertain future. You are simply being, and in that being, you discover that everything you need is already available to you in the present moment. Stress and anxiety often arise when we live in the future or dwell on the past, but when you commit to being present, those anxieties begin to dissipate. Mindfulness also encourages you to observe your thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Often we identify so strongly with our thoughts that we believe we are our thoughts. If we think negatively, we feel negative, and if we think anxiously, we feel anxious. But mindfulness teaches you to recognize that your thoughts are not you. They are simply mental events that come and go. By noticing them without judgment, you start to detach from them, preventing them from controlling your emotional state. This emotional regulation is an essential skill in the process of rebuilding yourself. By practicing mindfulness, you can develop a sense of emotional intelligence, which allows you to better understand and manage your feelings. Instead of reacting impulsively to situations or letting emotions take control, you can create space between stimulus and response. This space gives you the power to choose how you want to react, whether that means responding with patience, calm, or compassion. Mindfulness invites you to approach each moment with a sense of curiosity rather than judgment, allowing you to experience life as it is, without the filter of your personal biases or preconceptions. Being present also opens you up to deeper connections with others. When you're fully engaged in a conversation, listening without distractions, offering your undivided attention, you create an atmosphere of trust and respect. People can sense when you're truly present with them, and this presence fosters stronger, more authentic relationships. Similarly, being present in your interactions with yourself helps to cultivate self-compassion and self-awareness. When you are kind and present with yourself, you're more likely to nurture your own growth rather than criticize yourself or get lost in self-doubt. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require a huge time investment or a specific skill set to get started. You don't need to meditate for hours every day to benefit from the practice. In fact, mindfulness can be woven into the fabric of your daily life. You can practice it while eating, walking, listening to music, or even during routine tasks like washing dishes or brushing your teeth. The key is to fully engage with whatever you're doing and bring your full attention to the present moment, noticing all the sensations and details without judgment. Incorporating mindfulness into your life also allows you to become more attuned to your body. So often we neglect the signals our bodies send us, such as fatigue, hunger, stress, or tension. Mindfulness allows you to become more attuned to these sensations and to honor what your body needs, whether that's rest, nourishment, or a change in environment. By cultivating this awareness, you can better meet your physical needs and support your overall well-being. In moments of challenge, mindfulness and presence become even more important. When life gets tough, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of negative thoughts and emotions. You may feel overwhelmed, angry, or afraid, and in those moments, it's natural to want to escape or distract yourself. But practicing mindfulness allows you to sit with those difficult emotions without letting them control you. You can observe the sensations that arise without judgment and let them pass without attaching any meaning to them. In this way, mindfulness gives you the tools to manage difficult moments with greater ease and composure. Furthermore, mindfulness enhances your ability to make conscious choices. When you're fully present, you can assess your situation without being clouded by impulsive reactions or automatic patterns. This clarity helps you make decisions that are in alignment with your values, rather than reacting from a place of fear, stress, or habitual responses. In the broader context of rebuilding yourself, mindfulness and presence help you slow down and recenter. When you're rebuilding, you often have to make big changes, challenge old beliefs, and let go of patterns that no longer serve you. These changes can be overwhelming, and it's easy to rush through the process, hoping for quick results. However, mindfulness invites you to slow down and be present with each step, rather than rushing toward a distant goal. It helps you stay grounded, knowing that true transformation happens gradually through consistent, small shifts, rather than immediate dramatic changes. Ultimately, mindfulness and presence are practices of self-love and acceptance. By being present with yourself, you honor your own existence and acknowledge that you are enough just as you are. You no longer need to chase after a future version of yourself or dwell in the regret of the past. Instead, you embrace the fullness of the present moment, knowing that it is the only moment you truly have. This acceptance and presence are the foundation upon which you can rebuild yourself, creating a life that is deeply rooted in the truth of who you are. Commitment to self-care is one of the most vital aspects of rebuilding yourself. It's an often overlooked part of personal growth, yet it forms the foundation of every meaningful change and transformation. In a society that glorifies busyness and constantly pushing through exhaustion, taking time to care for yourself is not just an act of indulgence, it is an essential practice that nurtures your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Without it, you risk burning out, feeling disconnected from yourself, and struggling to maintain the energy required to pursue your dreams or navigate life's challenges. Self-care in its essence is about prioritizing your own needs, taking time to nourish yourself, and setting boundaries that protect your well-being. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of care, rest, and attention, not just as a reaction to feeling drained or overwhelmed, but as a consistent practice that sustains you. When you commit to self-care, you acknowledge that your own health and happiness are just as important as any other external responsibility or obligation you might have. At the core of self-care is the understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving to others, fulfilling obligations, or working without taking the time to recharge, you will eventually find yourself running on empty. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that taking care of others or meeting external expectations is more important than taking care of yourself. But the truth is, when you neglect your own needs, you undermine your ability to be fully present and effective in all areas of your life, whether it's in your relationships, career, or personal goals. When you are depleted, everything else suffers. The commitment to self-care means making time for activities that rejuvenate you and give you energy, whether that's taking a walk in nature, spending time with loved ones, indulging in a hobby, or simply resting. It also means taking care of your physical body through proper nutrition, exercise, and sleep. Self-care is not a one-time event or a luxury. It's an ongoing practice that you make a priority every single day. It's about creating a routine that ensures you're regularly checking in with yourself and replenishing the energy that life inevitably drains from you. But self-care goes beyond just the physical. Emotional and mental self-care are equally important in the rebuilding process. Many of us carry emotional baggage from past experiences, whether it's unresolved trauma, stress, or negative self-talk. Committing to emotional self-care means making time for emotional healing, acknowledging your feelings, and seeking support when necessary. It may involve journaling, therapy, meditation, or simply taking moments to reflect on your emotional needs. By caring for your emotional well-being, you create space for healing and growth, enabling you to let go of old patterns and embrace a new version of yourself. One aspect of self-care that is often overlooked is the practice of setting healthy boundaries. In order to truly care for yourself, you must learn to say no when needed and protect your time and energy from people or situations that drain you. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they are about creating a life that aligns with your values and protects your peace. Setting boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to people pleasing or constantly putting others first, but it is a necessary step towards self-respect and preserving your energy. Whether it's setting limits at work, in your relationships, or even with social media, boundaries allow you to honor yourself and prioritize your well-being. Another critical element of self-care is cultivating positive habits and routines that support your overall health and success. A commitment to self-care involves creating a lifestyle that supports you rather than drains you. This can mean designing a daily routine that includes activities that uplift and nourish you, like morning meditation, exercise, reading, or eating nourishing meals. It's about making choices that align with your values and long-term goals, instead of reacting to life's demands in a way that leaves you feeling depleted. Equally important is giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. In a culture that often equates productivity with worth, it can be difficult to allow yourself to slow down. But rest is just as essential to self-care as activity. It's not a sign of weakness or laziness. It's a vital part of maintaining your health and resilience. Rest allows your body to recover, your mind to recharge, and your soul to reconnect with itself. Whether it's a full day of relaxation, a weekend retreat, or simply taking breaks throughout the day, Rest is necessary for long-term well-being. When you commit to self-care, you also learn to listen to your own needs and trust your intuition. Often we push ourselves beyond our limits without checking in with what we truly need. Self-care encourages you to become more attuned to your inner voice and recognize the subtle cues your body and mind are giving you. It helps you distinguish between the demands of others and your own authentic needs. For example, when you're feeling drained, instead of pushing through or ignoring your fatigue, you give yourself permission to rest. When you're emotionally overwhelmed, instead of suppressing your feelings, you acknowledge them and take the necessary steps to process and heal. It's important to note that self-care isn't about perfection. It's about consistency and intention. You don't need to be perfect at taking care of yourself, and you don't need to do everything all at once. The key is showing up for yourself regularly in small, meaningful ways. Small acts of self-care, like taking a few deep breaths, stretching, or making time for a hobby you love, can add up over time and have a profound impact on your overall well-being. Committing to self-care also means allowing yourself to experience joy and pleasure. Many of us get so caught up in our responsibilities that we forget to enjoy life. Whether it's laughing with friends, enjoying a beautiful sunset, or indulging in a favorite treat, taking time to savor life's simple pleasures is an important part of self. Joy and pleasure are essential to sustaining your energy and keeping your spirit nourished as you navigate the ups and downs of life. Furthermore, self-care isn't a luxury for some people. It is a right that belongs to everyone. It's easy to think that only those who are privileged or have extra time and resources can engage in meaningful self-care, but that's simply not true. You can practice self-care no matter your circumstance. It's not about spending money or taking extravagant vacations. It's about showing up for yourself in ways that nurture your mind, body, and soul. Even in the busiest seasons of life, you can find ways to prioritize your well-being. Ultimately, the commitment to self-care is about honoring your worth and creating a foundation for lasting change. It's about recognizing that in order to give your best to the world, you first have to give your best to yourself. The more you care for yourself, the more you are able to show up with love, patience, and energy for the people and projects that matter most to you. Self-care is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and an investment in your future. By making it a non-negotiable part of your life, you ensure that you have the energy, clarity, and strength to rebuild yourself into the person you're meant to be. Resilience through setbacks and failure is a crucial element in the process of rebuilding yourself. Life, by its very nature, is full of challenges, detours, and setbacks. No matter how well we plan, how determined we are, or how much effort we put into our goals, things don't always go as expected. Failures, disappointments, and difficult moments are inevitable, but how you respond to these setbacks will ultimately determine the trajectory of your personal growth and transformation. Resilience is the capacity to bounce back from adversity, to face challenges with strength and perseverance, and to keep moving forward even when things feel impossible. It is not about avoiding failure or pretending that setbacks don't hurt. Rather, it's about developing the inner fortitude to rise after falling and to learn from each obstacle along the way. Resilience allows you to face life's inevitable difficulties with a mindset that is not defined by your failures, but by your ability to recover and keep striving. At the core of resilience is the understanding that failure is not the end of the road, but an opportunity for growth. It's easy to view failure as something negative, an indication that you're not good enough, that you've made a mistake, or that you've failed to meet expectations. But when you shift your perspective, you realize that failure is often a stepping stone to success. It's the feedback you need to adjust your approach, to learn new lessons, and to become more equipped to handle future challenges. Each failure holds within it the seed of growth, and it is in our response to those failures that we demonstrate our resilience. One of the first steps to cultivating resilience is to change how we define failure. In a society where success is often measured by outward achievements, failure can feel like a personal attack or a mark of inadequacy. But the truth is that everyone experiences failure at some point. The most successful people are often those who have failed the most, but they are also the ones who have learned how to bounce back, adapt, and persist. Failure doesn't have to define you, it is simply a part of the journey. The key is to separate your sense of self-worth from the outcomes of your efforts. You are not your failures. Your value lies in your ability to keep moving forward, no matter how many setbacks you encounter. Resilience also involves embracing discomfort and uncertainty. Setbacks often force us out of our comfort zones, and while this can be difficult, it is also where growth occurs. The feeling of being stuck or lost in the middle of a setback is natural, but it's also a sign that you are challenging yourself and pushing past your previous limit. Resilience is about facing these uncomfortable moments and staying in the process, even when the path forward is unclear. It means trusting that no matter how uncertain things may seem, you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. One of the most powerful tools for building resilience is the ability to reframe negative experiences. When faced with failure, it's easy to fall into self-doubt or to begin questioning your ability. Negative thoughts such as "I'll never be good enough," "I've messed up too many times," or "I'm not cut out for this," can quickly spiral into a pattern of self-criticism. But resilience comes from the ability to pause, take a step back, and reframe these thoughts. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of your inadequacy, see it as a lesson, an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. This shift in mindset is crucial to rebuilding yourself, as it helps you to stay focused on your long-term goals rather than getting discouraged by temporary setbacks. Another key element of resilience is the willingness to take responsibility and learn from your mistakes. When setbacks occur, it's tempting to blame others or external circumstances. While external factors may indeed play a role, resilient individuals recognize that their response to setbacks is within their control. Taking ownership of your mistakes and learning from them is not about beating yourself up. It's about gaining valuable insights that help you grow. Each failure offers an opportunity to fine-tune your approach, refine your skills, and move closer to your goal. This ability to view mistakes as learning opportunities rather than personal failures is a hallmark of resilience. It's also important to recognize the role of support systems in building resilience. While resilience is often seen as an individual trait, no one has to face life's challenges alone. Surrounding yourself with supportive people, whether friends, family, mentors, or colleagues, can provide the encouragement and perspective you need during tough times. Resilient individuals know that asking for help, sharing struggles, and leaning on others is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. Support systems offer reassurance, guidance, and sometimes a fresh perspective that can help you navigate through setbacks and regain your confidence. Resilience doesn't just mean bouncing back, it also means bouncing forward. Each setback is an opportunity to adapt, evolve, and improve. It's about developing flexibility and the capacity to pivot when things don't go according to plan. When you face failure with resilience, you are better able to recalibrate your approach, explore new possibilities, and continue on the path toward your goal. It's not about sticking to a rigid plan, but about remaining open to new methods, new opportunities, and new insights that can arise from failure. In addition, resilience requires patience. The rebuilding process is not always immediate or straightforward. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't improve as quickly as you'd like, but resilient individuals understand that progress takes time. They trust the process, knowing that even small steps forward are significant. This patience is key when faced with setbacks, acknowledging that you are not failing because you haven't reached your destination yet, but rather because you are still in the process of growth and transformation. Another essential aspect of resilience is the importance of self-compassion. In the face of failure or setbacks, it's natural to be hard on yourself. You might feel disappointed, frustrated, or discouraged, and in these moments, it's crucial to show yourself kindness and understanding. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same empathy and support that you would offer a friend going through a tough time. It's about recognizing that you are human and that mistakes are part of the process of growth. By practicing self-compassion, you can maintain your self-worth, even when things don't go as planned, and avoid falling into negative patterns of self-criticism that can undermine your resilience. Resilience also involves taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. When faced with setbacks, it's easy to neglect your well-being, but maintaining your health and well-being is essential to your ability to bounce back. Regular exercise, healthy eating, adequate rest, and stress management are all vital to building the physical and mental strength needed to navigate through challenges. Emotional self-care, such as journaling, meditation, or talking to a therapist, can also be incredibly helpful in processing setbacks and maintaining a resilient mindset. Ultimately, resilience is about developing the mindset and tools to weather life's inevitable storm. It's about learning to see failure not as a roadblock, but as a part of the journey. The ability to bounce back from setbacks with courage, optimism, and determination is a defining characteristic of those who successfully rebuild themselves. Each time you face a setback, remember that it is not the end of your story. It is simply an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. Resilience is the belief that no matter how many times you fall, you can always rise again, and each time you do, you come back more powerful and more equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. Ongoing personal growth is one of the most powerful forces behind the process of rebuilding yourself. It's a continuous evolving journey that doesn't have a clear-cut destination, but is instead defined by constant transformation and learning. Personal growth isn't just about achieving a set of goals or milestones. It's about continually expanding your capacity to adapt, evolve, and become the best version of yourself, no matter where you are in life. The journey of personal growth involves an ongoing commitment to self-awareness, learning, and development, and it requires a mindset that embraces change, challenges, and progress. At the heart of ongoing personal growth is the understanding that we are never finished product. We are always in the process of becoming. Whether you are striving to improve your emotional intelligence, develop new skills, deepen your relationships, or achieve greater clarity in your goals, personal growth is a lifelong endeavor. Life itself offers endless opportunities for growth, often in the form of challenges, experiences, and lessons that shape who we are and how we interact with the world. The journey of personal growth starts with a deep commitment to self-awareness. The more you understand yourself, your values, beliefs, strengths, weaknesses, and desires, the more you can align your actions with who you truly are. Self-awareness is the foundation for making conscious decisions that are in line with your authentic self, rather than being driven by external pressures or unconscious habits. The more you tune in to your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, the better equipped you become to recognize patterns and make intentional changes. Self-awareness also enables you to see where growth is needed. Without self-reflection, it's easy to remain stuck in old habits or limiting beliefs that prevent you from evolving. When you take the time to reflect on your experiences, your reactions, and the areas of your life where you feel unsatisfied, you create a blueprint for growth. Whether it's in your career, relationships, or health, ongoing personal growth begins with identifying the gaps between where you are and where you want to be. It's about asking yourself the tough questions and being honest with the answers, even if they challenge your current reality. Another key component of ongoing personal growth is the ability to learn continuously. Growth is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of learning, whether from books, mentors, experiences, or mistakes. Life will continuously offer opportunities to learn, but it's up to you to stay open to them. It's about having the humility to acknowledge that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. The most successful and fulfilled people are those who approach life as students, continuously seeking knowledge and new perspectives, and who aren't afraid to challenge their own beliefs or adapt their mindset. This continuous learning also applies to developing new skills and ability. The world is constantly changing, and to stay relevant and engaged, you need to keep expanding your skill set. Whether it's learning a new language, mastering a new technology, or improving your communication skills, ongoing personal growth means being proactive in your own development. It's about seeking out new experiences that stretch your abilities and take you out of your comfort zone, because growth always happens on the edge of discomfort. Personal growth is also about fostering resilience in the face of challenges. Life is full of unexpected twists, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed when things don't go as planned. But personal growth involves developing the strength to weather adversity and the wisdom to learn from difficult situations. Resilience doesn't mean avoiding failure or setbacks. It means developing the emotional fortitude to stay grounded and move forward despite them. It's about learning to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles, and using each setback as a stepping stone toward greater self-awareness and success. One of the most important aspects of ongoing personal growth is developing a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through hard work, perseverance, and learning. People with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to improve rather than threats to their self-worth. They understand that failure is not an indicator of their limitations but a part of the learning process. By cultivating a growth mindset, you free yourself from the fear of failure and embrace challenges with a sense of curiosity and excitement. This mindset is what drives continuous growth and allows you to see setbacks not as permanent, but as temporary obstacles that can be overcome with effort and perseverance. A key part of ongoing personal growth is setting goals that inspire and challenge you. Goals give you a sense of direction and purpose, but they also provide a framework for growth. Whether they're short-term or long-term goals, having a vision for where you want to go gives you something to strive for and a benchmark for your progress. However, personal growth doesn't only come from achieving these goals, it comes from the process of working toward them. It's about the habits you form, the lessons you learn, and the adjustments you make along the way. The pursuit of meaningful goals provides a roadmap for your growth, but it's the journey, not just the destination, that facilitates your transformation. While setting goals is important, so too is the ability to adjust and evolve as you grow. Your goals might change over time as you gain new insights, interests, or circumstances evolve. Flexibility is key in the ongoing process of personal growth. What might have been a priority at one point in your life may no longer resonate with you as you continue to develop. Ongoing personal growth requires that you remain adaptable, willing to reassess and realign your goals as your understanding of yourself and your purpose deepen. Personal growth is also deeply tied to emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, manage, and use your emotions in healthy ways. Developing emotional intelligence allows you to navigate your relationships more effectively, make better decisions, and respond to challenges with greater empathy and self-control. Part of personal growth is learning to identify and regulate your emotions, understand the emotions of others, and create deeper, more authentic connections. This skill can dramatically improve your professional and personal life, as emotional intelligence plays a critical role in how you interact with others and manage conflict. Personal growth also involves taking care of your mental, physical, and emotional health. It's not just about achieving success or acquiring new skills, it's about creating a holistic sense of well-being. Taking care of your body through regular exercise, eating nutritious food, and getting enough rest helps sustain the energy and focus you need for growth. Similarly, mental and emotional well-being are vital components of your overall health. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, and therapy can help you maintain a balanced perspective, cultivate self-awareness, and manage stress. A well-rounded approach to personal growth ensures that you have the resilience and clarity to continue evolving, no matter the circumstances. The most fulfilling personal growth is not just about achieving external success, it's about inner transformation. As you grow, you may find yourself becoming more aligned with your core values, passions, and purpose. Ongoing personal growth is about uncovering the deeper layers of yourself, shedding limiting beliefs, and moving closer to living authentically. This inner work can be challenging, but it's often the most rewarding, as it leads to a greater sense of fulfillment, peace, and connection. Ultimately, ongoing personal growth is about committing to the process of becoming more aware, adaptable, and resilient. It's about continually seeking improvement, not because you're broken or need fixing, but because you are dedicated to the idea that you can always evolve. Growth is not a linear path. It is a winding journey that takes you through peaks and valleys. But with each step, you learn more about who you are, what you want, and how you can contribute to the world around you. Through this continuous process of self-discovery, you find yourself not only achieving your goals, but becoming a stronger, wiser, and more authentic version of yourself.